Why you? Why it is that you believe that you should accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Today it is we are going to talk about your money and you. What is it about your money and you? How do you think about money? How do you feel about money? Do you ask yourself every day, why is it that that money seems to be so hard to come by? Do you find yourself wondering why is it that every Monday morning you have to go to work that you really wish it is that you don't have to go to? What is it about money? Today it is that we have with us Miss Nicole Cupid. Miss Nicole Cupid is the owner of uh, Business Lifeline, and she'll be our guest today was answering about your money and you. So at this time, it is that we want to bring on Miss Nicole Cupid, and she will introduce herself, introduce her company, and we would get the program started. So Nicole, welcome to
Thank,
the Ask Why program.
thank you very much, Lashley, and a very pleasant evening to all of your participants and viewers of the program. Um, as was shared, I am Nicole Joseph Cupid. I'm the CEO of Business Lifeline Limited. And Business Lifeline was founded to provide or to fill the gap for expertise for particularly micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. So a lot of people get into business, but the people that tend to get into business do not necessarily have academic qualifications in business. And of course, business being a very dynamic aspect, at some point in terms of your business operations, you are going to need assistance in terms of getting expertise in areas that you may not have. So Business Lifeline, like the name says, serves as a lifeline to persons who have ventured into that interesting world of entrepreneurship to really be able to give them the support and the guidance to avoid them running into trouble or losing their life investments. Yes?
Yeah. So you would say it is that you are well equipped towards with all the experience and the expertise towards answering what is it that people have when it comes towards money, their money problems, their money issues, the way it is that they see money and so forth. Would you say from your experience, you think it is that you are well equipped towards answering those questions?
Well, that might be a trick question, Lashley. I think I am. I have quite a bit of knowledge as it relates to money, and of course, money itself is also a dynamic thing. So, knowledge about money changes as well as people's attitudes towards money. But I am very happy to share the knowledge that I have relating to money.
Okay, great, great. All right. So it is that we will start off with our first question, right? Similar to what it is I just asked, but please give in your opinion in the simplest of format, right? What is the biggest problem people have when it comes to money? So let me just give some pointers. Is it managing money? Is it a fear of having too little or too much money? Or is it the way we were conditioned by society to think about money? Or is it none of the above? What would you say?
Well, I would say it's a combination, but you may have missed another aspect because
Okay.
it's not so much the fear of having too little money, it's just the feel, full stop. Now, fear is what you end up with when you have a lack of knowledge about something. So most people do not, I mean, people have a general idea about money, but there are many people walking around that have not been taught the basic principles of money management. So when I was growing up, okay, you have to save money. It's a good thing for you to set aside and save money. But did I know what ratio I should save? What
Mm,
kind of savings I should have? Things like investing and these things. These are not things that are taught in terms of your general upbringing, right? So many people grow up with a fear of money. So it's either they're afraid, listen, if you grew up as conservative as I did, I grew up in a very conservative society called church. And
Okay.
of course, you were taught that the wages of sin is death, but of course that the love of money, no, had some very harsh consequences, including that.
Hmm.
So there was this built-in fear that you had. You didn't want to be covetous because of the consequences of covetousness, and that was considered to be a sin as well. And like I said, I mean, that is the ultimate penalty. So you don't want to be covetous, but at the same time, there is a recognition that one needs money for everything. Even the operation of the church needed money in order to pay survival. So it took a while really to get or to strike that balance that says wanting to have money is not the same thing as being covetous for money, right? And there are a lot of people who are battling essentially with their programming, as you put it. So you're programmed in a particular way. So you're fearful, you don't want to venture into certain things. We have a lot of fables and stories about things that we don't know about. So if we can't explain it, if we don't know it ourselves, we come up with stories that create even greater fear for other people to venture there. So money is one of those things that have a lot of fear shrouded around it. And that fear is grounded in the aspect of a lack of knowledge. So as people get to know more and they understand how money works and how it can make a difference in their life, both positively and negatively, then they're better able to manage their money.
Wow. I really like it is how you gave that understanding, right? Um, so what I want to get from you, and I think it is most of the viewers would want to get, is for yourself, right? Take us down memory lane. What are the good or bad memories you have while growing up in your childhood community when it comes to money, right? So you give us a little bit, but give us, was it a bad experience, how it is people view money, or was it more a good way it is they view money?
Okay, so if I was supposed to just get really up close and personal, I had both sides of the coin. So my dad was not brought up in the same church system that I was brought up with. And he had a slightly different perception. But both my parents grew up rather poor. So they were very simple people coming from deep south. When they went to school, sometimes things were so tough that they didn't even have shoes to put on their feet. But what they did both have was a strong ambition for a better life. But my both parents had two different perceptions as to how to get that better life. So for my mom, it was all about, listen, I'm going to go out there and I am going to get a good job and I'm going to work hard until I retire and try to manage the little that I have to get the most out of it. And there was nothing wrong with that perception. But then my father had the idea that, listen, let me see how best I can get the maximum out of the resources that I have. So although I have a good job, I am going to, use my resources to see how I can generate an additional income so that I can move my family forward. Now, one of the key motivators for both my parents was being able to give their parents a more comfortable life, being able to build a better home for their parents and stuff. And that they were successful at doing. So that was a major milestone for them. But for me growing up, we had a modest life. And I was afforded the opportunity to attend school with peers who had a much better life. and I remember feeling sometimes a little bit less than, because when you go visit your friends, they had the big lavish houses with the swimming pool and everything. And I grew up in a pretty small national house in a housing scheme. So I always wanted to be able, I couldn't figure out why I shouldn't be able to live the dream like they were living the dream. I wanted my children to have that better life. I wanted them to have the big house and experience those things, for them to be able to travel, see many different countries and stuff. I mean, I was fortunate enough to do it. But of course, it was tight. It wasn't always like, an easy thing. But we made it happen. You had to stretch the resources that you had in order to make it happen. So as it relates to my perception of money, really and truly, my upbringing sort of pointed me into the direction of understanding the limitations that you will have in life when you do not have much money. And at some stage, I would have grown to understand that some of the scripts that were written as it relates to people who want to get more money isn't always as accurate as we think it is. Yes, so that's where I started to develop my interest as it relates to entrepreneurship, because again, that is one of the key areas where you're going to be able to really expand your income.
Right. So in other words, you would say that you had a kind of like a balanced way of thinking about money.
Yes, I would say so.
Right. So we would get back towards the memories, but getting towards the big problem, right? You mentioned fear, right? What do you think is causing that fear? Is it because there are people or there are research that say that we're a certain percentage nature and a certain percentage nurture? Would you think it is that a lot of people don't have a sense of identity of why it is that they exist? Why is it that things are happening the way they are happening? And therefore it is that they struggle as towards identifying themselves in a correct manner as it relates to how it is they treat with money?
Well, I'm not sure that I would link it to a lack of identity. Now, essentially, I don't think that your identity defines your end goal. You are the one that's going to define your end goal. So, quote unquote, if your identity was that of a 1%er, not all 1%ers are successful. Yes. So we need to understand that we need to sometimes strip these identities and understand what is our dream. I think the biggest problem that we have is that people have a fear of the unknown. So if I grew up in simple settings, then I think that my entire life must be simple, as opposed to I have the ability to step into the other realm as well. And it's not so much, like I said, identity, but that desire within yourself. That's something that you have to harness. Now, every child grows up with some level of guidance from their parents, from the society that they grow into. But as you approach adulthood, that's when, like you say, you have to start questioning, ask why, and essentially start to understand whether all of the things that were said to you are actually accurate.
Yeah. You see, on program Ask Why, what we are seeking to come to terms with is what is it that really and truly we need to ask? What is the questions we need to ask that will help us towards building generational wealth? Many people want to build generational wealth, but many people struggle towards building generational wealth. Many people find themselves, it is bouncing from pillar to post. in that they would accomplish certain things, and then they realize like they're back to square one. It is that they feel as though they are not accomplishing much. And a lot may have to do with, as we say, your money and you. How do you relate to money? Because we are living in a materialistic world, right? So what would you say is, as to what do you think it is important? Why do you think it is important for viewers to understand this problem as it relates towards how people view their money, right? And how it is money affects them.
Okay, so really to simplify it, like you said, we are in a materialistic society. You can't do anything in society without money. You can't even get sick without money. Yes? Everything that you have to do from the time you enter that world of adulthood, you have to take that responsibility of earning and looking after yourself. Now, the major problem comes in where we are short-sighted. Now, I am short-sighted physically, but I'm saying to you, most people are short-sighted when it comes to money. So we want to leave a legacy, yes, but we don't believe that we can afford a home, yeah, because that's for somebody else. That's not for me. But why is it not for you? Now, a lot of people do a lot of wishing. I wish that I can have this, and I wish that I can have the other stuff. And like I say to my clients all the time, after you have the dream, your very next step is to quantify that dream. And if you don't quantify that dream, you've only managed to identify a good wish. So if you know that you want to leave a legacy, what is the value of that legacy that you want to leave? And then you start to break down what are the things that you need to do in order to be able to afford that legacy. But that's not what most people do. They just say, I want a legacy. If you have no destination or clearly defined destination, then there will be no surprise that you really don't get there, right? And when we just wish, a wish doesn't clearly define your destination, and it contributes to the fact that people just tend to go around in circles and not really achieve the things that they want to achieve. So the first thing that we need to do is understand when we dream, we need to quantify that dream. And when you quantify that dream, then that will inform you as to whether or not you are trying to build a grand legacy with YouLB, right? So when you quantify your dreams, it really says to you, if you're going to Moruga, you know, for most people, Moruga is quite far. And if you're heading from where I live, way up in the east, to Moruga, it's a very long journey. Nobody wants to do that journey walking. You don't even want to do it on a bicycle. It's going to be long and painful. And by the time you get there, you may have missed what you wanted to go there for. So I'm saying when you quantify the dream, you know whether or not the vehicle that you're using, whether it's your job or whatever investments that you're getting into, or if you're into business, whatever type of business that you're into, whether or not that vehicle can afford the dream that you have. So some people are afraid to dream, and the others that do dream fail to quantify that dream, so then they get little or no results.
So a lot has to do with becoming more specific.
Yes.
Right.
So if you are, think about it again, you're going on a journey. You got up this morning and you said, I'm going to go to San Fernando. You're not going to stand outside your house and then say, I wonder how to get to San Fernando. That wouldn't make much sense, right? You are going to sit and map out, listen, this is the destination that I'm going to. What is the fastest way that I can get there with the resources that I have? Right? That's what you're going to do. And for everything else in life, that's the way we approach it, except when it comes to money. But the principle doesn't change. It's the same principle that we need to apply as well with money.
Right. I just want to let our viewers know that Nicola has really been very much inspirational in my own life towards the way in which it is that she's able to articulate what she has on her mind, and when it is that she gives advice, it's very, very clear. So I know it is our viewers are really wrapped up in what it is that you're saying and how it is that you're answering the questions. And I really, really appreciate you being on the show. I just wanted to make mention of that. So as we go on, right?
Thank you.
Yes, and viewers, you can put in the chat, any questions that you have. At the end of this little discussion between Nico and myself, we would seek to answer those questions to the best way in which we can do so, right? So as the program is, it's Ask Why, right? If you have any why questions there for Nicole, it is put it in the chat. And when the question answer, we'll open it up so that if you feel you want to actually voice your questions, you can also do that, right? So as we continue with the why part of this interview, Nicole, on it, how it is people approach the money, right? You talked about it being specific, right? Being more specific. So would you say that is the reason why people find it so hard to overcome the problems that they have with money? Is it that they are not being specific, or is it something else also?
Like I said, it's a combination of two factors, because some people don't believe that they could achieve their dream. So if you don't believe, really and truly, you're not going to achieve your dream, right? So we have that initial problem where some people, so you drive down Westmoreland and you look at one of those beautiful apartments at the Boys or somewhere down there, and you say to yourself, boy, I could see myself there. But saying to yourself that you can see yourself there, as opposed to working towards seeing yourself there, is two completely different things, right? So you may visit a really nice place and you think, man, I would love to live like this. However, you are not taking the necessary steps in order to do it. So that wish, like I said, is not going to really materialize or manifest itself into reality, because you can't just operate on a wish. So that's number one. And most people don't get out of the wish zone. I wish I had more money. I wish I could have traveled. I wish. But what is the problem that's stopping you from realizing your wish? Because you're just wishing. After you wish, you have to work. Yeah. And you have to know what you're working towards. And you have to know what work you need to do in order to accomplish the end result. So you have those who are afraid to dream and really go after the dream. And then for those who are saying, listen, I want to go out there. I think I can do it. I'm going to go after this dream. The problem that they often run into is that they don't quantify the dream. So they don't know what they're working towards. They're just working. So if you're not clear what you're working towards, then it's very difficult for you to actually achieve anything.
And that is so true. And that leads to the point whereby, why would you recommend to our viewers, right, that they get a mentor, or would you recommend that individuals do get a mentor? Like yourself, you're a mentor, right? I see myself as a mentor. What is the real reason behind individuals looking for a mentor, and how would you define a mentor?
All right. So essentially, a mentor is someone who would have achieved certain accomplishments in whatever area it may be, right? And of course, then that person is like your big sister, brother, mother, someone that holds your hand now and helps you to navigate your journey towards accomplishing a similar dream, right? So for a lot of people, theoretical guidance doesn't really take you to the destination. So there's a lot of theory out there. And of course, we are in the information age now. So people can find information very easily online, lots of information. You're bombarded by information every day. But for a lot of people, they struggle to actually apply that information and really be able to get some meaningful results from it. So that's when experience comes in. Someone who would have had the experience, who knows what it feels like, who could tell you, listen, go left, go right. When this happens, this is what you can do. And that's what a mentor will be able to do for you. That's one. Two, a mentor is supposed to be able to help you identify your weaknesses. So the weaknesses that you yourself don't even know that you have, your mentor will help you identify it. But your mentor doesn't just stop at helping you identify what your deficiencies are. What they would then do is help you develop a strategy to actually overcome it. So when you start thinking of a coach, for example, coach of a football club, they would look at their players. They will see what are their strengths. They will identify what their weaknesses are. And for each of the individual players, they will now come up with a strategy of how do I motivate this person? How do I get this person to physically overcome whatever challenges they're experiencing so that they can now realize their full potential?
And that is what this program is about, helping people to realize their full potential, right? So we now go into the part of how. So we talked about the what, we talked about the why, right? Why is it so important that people have a proper view of money, right? And what it will do for them. Now we want to know, how do you really go about it in the steps that you follow, you need to follow when it comes towards really harnessing that knowledge of money towards creating generational wealth, because that's what we're about here on Ask Why. At the end of the day, we want people to feel fulfilled. We want people to accomplish certain things. We want people to really have a sense of identity. And if you don't know the how, knowing the what, knowing the why, but there is no how, where do we go from here? So let's talk about the how, right? Can you please list and explain the steps our viewers need to take to overcome the problems that they may face when it comes towards money so that they can build generational wealth?
All right, so 2 steps. You have to increase your knowledge. And 2, if you really want to get yourself unstuck, get professional help, right? If you continue to do the things that you're doing now, you're not going to get any different results. And I would also want to share the fact that you don't know what you don't know. That's why you don't know. So you have to go to someone that knows, that will then be able to use that knowledge to help you grow, right? So people think, I don't want nobody know my business. I want this, and you're taking your pressure by yourself. But do you really need to? And is it really helping you to take that particular approach, right? Is it taking you one step closer to your goal or destination? And if it's not, then I'm saying it's really not worthwhile. So one of the things I'm very passionate about is about really helping people to increase their knowledge and understanding. And increasing your knowledge and understanding doesn't mean that you have to go back to school and try and get the subjects that you didn't get or something like that. Every single day, you can increase your knowledge. You have to develop that appetite that says every single day, I want to learn something more. So you have to now seek out the resources that will help you in terms of improve your understanding of the particular area. So we're talking money. It means that you now have to seek out the principles that you don't know as it relates to money management, and there are a lot. So one of the programs that I conduct literally, I think every quarter, is a program that we call Secrets of Wealth Creation, where we would teach persons some of the basic principles of money management. And it amazes me every single time that we run that program. I mean, the reviews are usually through the roof because we have tons of people of varying levels of accomplishments in society. We have bankers, we have people in the financial sector, and they sit there and it's like, oh my gosh, we never knew these things. You know, how come this information is not easily accessible? Now, I can't answer that particular question, and a lot of the information that is shared as well would have been information that I found out after making a ton of mistakes and losing money. So the idea was to really provide a solution that would have saved someone else from going down that particular route. But what I would say to you is that, again, as people got the information, as their eyes were open, they were able to better manage their resources. And I'm really, really proud. Every so often, people would send you a message to say, well, listen, I've done this, I've been able to accomplish this, I've gotten to this point. But they can only do that because they have a handle on the situation now, and that particular handle is knowledge.
It's a very, very good answer there towards that and advice. So it is that based on this knowledge, many people, because I'm into insurance as a life insurance agent, many people I come across, it is that they have a very negative view when it comes towards life insurance. And it is in my view that individuals need to learn how to earn money, how to learn how to keep money, and then to learn to grow the money. But most people bypass the keeping part of it. They go from earning an income, right? And then they go towards seeking to grow it, but never seek to keep it. So in your perspective, right, whether it be a negative view or positive view when it comes towards life insurance, at the end of the day, we are trying to give people the truth and not about trying to be biased in any way. Given life insurance is there, would you say it is that life insurance can help individuals towards really and truly overcoming their problems as it relates towards money and be able to grow generational wealth by using life insurance products and services?
Okay, so first things first, if you ask me that question, okay, I won't tell you how many years ago, but let's just say some years ago, right? Might be plenty. My perception of insurance was much like most people, rip off, right? Because I didn't understand exactly what insurance was. Ironically, I had it, but I didn't really understand what was the purpose. I had it because I know that my parents said to me, when you start working, you need to get insurance, and it's cheaper when you have it there, right? But my thing was, I knew that I was looking, I would have acquired my first home very young, at age 21, to be honest. And of course, knowing that I was going in the direction of actually making a house purchase, I knew that I needed insurance. So that was really the main motivation for me. But let me tell you what has changed. Many years subsequent, I myself became an insurance agent. And that was really ironic. I think sometimes God has a very warped sense of humor, because the things that we think we like the least are sometimes the things that he sends our way. But during that period, what I did was gain a meaningful understanding of insurance. And I think if people understand exactly what insurance is, they won't be so adverse to it. So if I was supposed to put it simply, insurance is a word for income replacement. That's what insurance does. Insurance replaces your income at the times that you are not able to earn an income yourself. So if we think about it, most people have a family or they have some dependent that is, or that looks towards them as it relates to financial support, right? So you have a family, although there may be another income earner in the family, most families are dependent on all the incomes that come in, because of course, you know, your expenses tend to grow to match your income. So if one income is lost because the income earner is no longer there, the family expenses or those who are left behind, their needs do not disappear, right? But now that source of income is no longer there. So how do you replace it? How does the child who didn't expect to lose a parent while they were in transit into university continue to go to university? Yeah. How is it that the child who's underage and lost a parent is going to be able to continue to pay the mortgage to keep a roof over their head? Now, most people don't understand that, but that is what life insurance does. It replaces the income of the person who would have now either passed away or may have become incapacitated for some reason and cannot earn an income. There is a nest egg here that says, I will keep the family covered for a certain period so that they can start to recover. Because quite frankly, death doesn't give you any notice most times. Yeah, even when you expect it, it has come unexpected. So we also have to understand the financial implication of that particular phenomenon, right? And that's where income replacement comes in. When you're sick, you're not able to earn the way that you would have been able to earn if you were well. And when you're sick, you have to spend more money. Where that money coming from? That's where your insurance come in. When you're retired, I mean, you are retired, you're tired now. You work for all these years. But when you're retired, your income goes down, your expenses go up because now you're older, you have all kinds of complications, you didn't take good care of yourself during the time that you were working, or simply you've worked so hard for so many years, you want to go out and be able to enjoy your retirement, right? But where does the income come from in order for you to do that? So I think when people understand what's the difference it will make in their life, then they won't have so much of a negative perception, because my perception has definitely changed. As it relates to a legacy, I don't know how much better of a legacy that you can leave for your family by being able to say, listen, the home that you have grown up in, that you're living in now, that you used to, it will be paid for if I'm gone. So you don't have to worry about that. It will be bad enough that I'm gone. So you can now focus on, figuring out how you're going to fix or fill the void that I have created. For a lot of people, they don't also consider the fact that if something was supposed to happen to them today, all the debts that they have don't die with them. So who's going to pay it? Where are they going to get the money to pay it? If you are here now and you're not able to pay it, which is why you have debts. If something was to happen to you, what's going to happen with those debts? So we need to understand the role that insurance plays as it relates to income replacement and how that could protect your legacy going forward so that there's actually something left for your family to be able to take the next step when you're gone.
So it's really interesting. A lot of the information that you're sharing, right? It's really the hope that this will not just stay with our viewers that are viewing at this point in time, but that they will share it with others so that they would have around them individuals who see things the same way they see it, because that will help reinforce it is their new belief that they are getting from this program. So I'm really hoping it is that individuals will share. And we're coming up to the question and answer period, right? So anyone who have been viewing this program and you have some questions that you'd like to ask, Chrissy would, or co-host would carry out this part of the program in getting those questions and having those questions, spelled out to everyone. So, Chrissy, if it is that we can go into the question and answer period, if there's any questions that are there.
I'm not seeing any questions as yet. So guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat, or you can at this time voice your question if it is that you have a burning question.
So as we go along, anyone, you can feel free to unmute and ask a question. But
well, I was just saying this is the shyest crowd I've ever had to present to. Yes, no questions. Yeah, I mean, we're talking money. Yeah, I mean, I would have tons of questions.
I'm sure it is someone would unmute and or put a question in the chat in a short while. But at the same time, it is that you were able to give out your information so clearly that maybe it is that individuals really understand clearly what it is that the point that we're trying to make.
Well, they need to unmute the mic and tell me that directly, because I am falling for that bit of mama guy, yeah?
Right. But we want to say also look at what would be if they say you would have the opportunity to talk to yourself when you were just entering the world of work, right? What would be the advice you would give to that younger self?
Don't!
Don't do what?
Don't start working. Yeah?
Don't start working.
Honestly, of course, you know that my core passion is really entrepreneurship. And I've always been entrepreneurial, but I was quite fortunate to get a really good job, the dream job for most people, straight out of school. But ironically, within a month or 2 months of having quote unquote the dream job with a nice cushy salary, I was looking to start my own business. And quite frankly, looking back now, I really wish that I didn't take as long as I did to exit the corporate world and go full hardcore into entrepreneurship. And again, the reason for that was fear. I wanted to have the security of a nice cushy job, but then having that security was at the expense of my personal success in terms of entrepreneurship, because as they say, it's very difficult for you to serve two masters. So somebody going to get shortchanged. And because you don't want to lose your salary, most times your personal business gets shortchanged. So, I may have, I think in retrospect, taken a different view. I would have wanted to say to my younger self, believe and have some confidence in yourself. Of course, there was so much that I would have also learned from my employment journey that I don't know that I may want to give that back. So, I don't know. It's a good thing we don't get to go back. Yes, we just have to keep going forward. So sometimes we need to appreciate that things just work out the way that they ought to have been, because I probably wouldn't have been as good at what I do now if I didn't take the journey the way it was before, to go through the employment way.
Right, right. It is that, so viewers, if it is that you found the information that was shared so far was very helpful, put a 1-on-1 in the chat. If it is that you don't feel towards unmuting and asking that question, at least put a 1-on-1 in the chat so we know it is that you really got the information that we shared, because we want, as I say, to really help individuals. Feel free to ask questions. In this world, it is that many people are afraid to ask questions, and we want to give them that opportunity to feel free to ask questions. I always remember a person giving this story whereby it is his grandmother would always put his mother would always put half of a turkey in the oven towards baking that turkey. And he always wondered, well, why it is that she would only put half of the turkey. It's not that they didn't have money to buy a whole turkey, but she would always put half of the turkey. So he asked his mother, why do you put half of the turkey into the oven when it is that we have a whole turkey? She said, I don't know. All I know it is my mother used to do it that way. So it is he decided to go and ask his grandmother, why do you put half a turkey into the oven and not the whole turkey? She said, I don't know why. It is, you need to ask your great grandmother. And it is that he asked his great grandmother, why do you put half a turkey into the oven? And the simple reason was, at the point in time, the oven was so small, it could only fit half of turkey, right? So many times it is, all we need to do is to ask questions, and we'd realize that there's no reason for the way it is we approach certain things. We will change that approach and we'll get better results. So it is that they were getting only half a turkey, right, when they could have gotten much more. So feel free to ask whatever question that you have in your mind towards getting answers, because that's how you would be able to change your way of thinking, change what the results that you're getting, and live the life that you deserve to live, right? So I'm seeing one question there. Is there a question there, Chrissy?
No questions yet. Persons were just responding to your call for stating if the session has been informative, and about 2 of them, I believe, had said that it was well put together. Thank you for the knowledge you shared today, and it was very informative.
Okay, all right. Glad to hear that. So, with this program, Ask Why, it is leading up to, this is where it is that we give information and we give it freely by bringing experts in the field of finance, business, self-mastery, life coaching, individuals like Nicole, that is our business lifeline, and what we would be doing to help people further get information, help people to advance their knowledge on these topics. We'd be having masterclass where we'd put together these information and we'd have individuals come and go more in depth into the information that we are sharing. So look out for those masterclass, right? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? And if it is, as I say, you have any question at this point in time, feel free to ask. But as we are in closing, Nicole, what would be the one takeaway that you would want individuals to get from all that was said today?
All right. So I would want people to remember, dream without limitations. There's nothing that you cannot achieve. And it doesn't really matter where you started. Yeah. But if you have that dream and you're prepared to work towards accomplishing it, it can also be yours. There's nothing that someone else can achieve that you can't achieve. Yeah. So you have to know what you want. And when you get that dream, that limitless dream, quantify it. And when you quantify it, now start breaking it down and see how each day you can take the actions necessary to take you one step closer towards achieving that dream. So every day you are going to be, you make every day meaningful. There's no one day that you're just going to be existing. Every single day should take you one step closer to you achieving that dream and to you living your best life. So if nothing else that you remember, dream without those limitations, quantify it and give it 100%, go after it, and you start to see how your life will start evolving and progressing.
Right. So thank you very much, Nicole, for the information you shared. But for our viewers to really get a hold of you and to who came on a little later on, what really is Business Lifeline about, and how can Business Lifeline help these individuals towards building generational wealth?
All right, so Business Lifeline is there to provide persons with a bit of a lifeline. Yeah, so you get into the world of business in terms of entrepreneurship. You want to really go down the road of self-sufficiency and not be dependent on someone else to determine what your income will be. Then we are there for you to fill those gaps that you may not have as it relates to knowledge. We provide the support services to help you achieve the things that you want to do. We help you in terms of developing the strategies that you need to execute in order to be successful. We'll market your business and help you develop your sales. Every potential service that you can think of under the umbrella of business, we are a one-stop shop in terms of so service support to business owners. Whilst our primary customers are business customers, we do help individual customers as well. So for example, our financial educational program is one that is extended not just to business people, but to people in general. So we do have some things that will help individuals take that step and help them to find the success that they're looking for going forward. We have a very vibrant coaching and mentorship program as well, where the focus is really on you achieving measurable results within a period of 6 months initially. And even on that program, what I can say, I have not really had any students who wanted to exit after the 6 months for the simple reason that they just set a new goal and they started to go after the new goal. So it's really results oriented. So if you have a need or you would like to explore how we can assist you any further, you can definitely feel free to reach out to us. Our office number is 235-4255. We are across all of the social media platforms, so you can always message, whether it be our Facebook page or Instagram page. We have a lot of resources available in terms of videos on YouTube as well. So you can always reach out, and definitely a representative will get back to you, and we see how best we can support.
Okay, very good. If you could just give the email address for Business Lifeline.
It's info at businesslifelinett.com.
Okay, great. Great. So Nicole, it is that we are very, very thankful for the information and the time that you took towards sharing with our viewers all this wealth of information that you have shared, right? It is that certainly, as others have said in the chat, it was very informative, right? Very interesting, and I like always like your energy, right? Always like your energy. So thank you very much, and to all our viewers, right? We want to remind you that go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? Go to our Facebook page, like our page, follow us, because this is only the beginning, of many things to come that would really help individuals, viewers, to really and truly find their why, find what it is that will really help them towards building generational wealth. So it's only by following us can we really and truly help you as we would like to help you. So thank you again, Nicole. Thank you, Chrissy. And thanks to all our viewers for viewing the Ask Why program. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much for having me. Yes, it was indeed a pleasure.
Okay. All the best to everyone.
All the best. Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye.